100% that I need to join the mission frontier. And it's in that moment you're in a Bible school, in meditation and praying and hoping and trusting upon the Lord. But we will open the doors of our home for many more children who do not have a home. And it's out of that confession that our family is a blended family.
Wonderful. You're saying a mission station in Archers Post started from a shop.
Yes, a simple shop.
Now you can imagine. Welcome back to the Kingdom Paths, where we go beyond your Sunday. My name is Emmanuel Muliro, and I'll be your host for today. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. Be sure to give your reviews at the comment section and also at our social media pages at CITAM Kakamega. And so today we are back with our lead pastor, Reverend Peter Saliku, who was sharing with us his story from our last episode. And today we are here with a continuation of the same, and still we want to know, all the way from the county of Uasin Gishu to the county of Samburu County. Rev, karibu sana.
Thank you, Brother Emmanuel. It's such a great joy to be back again on the Kingdom Paths Beyond Sunday.
Yes.
It's true, I gave my life to the Lord in Uasin Gishu County, specifically Eldoret. And I remember pretty well how warming, how joyful, how grateful it was that my heart warmed up to the Lord. And it's at that moment I discovered that the Lord has been waiting for me to say yes, that He can also send me out to be a blessing to His kingdom. And that's how I began my journey. And I went out and became a lay missionary with a mission arm from Pentecostal Assemblies of Canada. But they had an affiliation with the People's Mission from Germany. And I served with them as a lay person in basically in Baringo. And the Lord continued to minister to me so powerfully. And then I requested to jump out so that I can go to Bible school. So it's out of the Bible school after graduation, I figured out that the Lord is calling me to the mission frontier, not necessarily to the church.
Yeah.
And as I had mentioned earlier in our first episode, that I pastored a small church at Sugunanga in Eldoret.
Yes.
And also served as academic affairs student at Habencher's Bible and Missionary College. So it was in those connections that the Lord spoke to me vividly, strongly, that I need to go out and not serve as a pastor, but as a missionary. So I went out and became a mission pastor among the Samburu people group. And as I said earlier, we began in Marara.
Wonderful. That is so great. And it's always a pleasure to have you here. Reverend, on our previous episode, you took us all the way up to where CITAM, now you are in CITAM umbrella.
Yes.
How was it?
Yeah, finally, upon graduation, I knew 100% that I need to join the mission frontier. And it's in that moment you're in a Bible school, in meditation and praying and hoping and trusting upon the Lord. I kept on meeting a brother driving out of the Bible school. That's at AIU, Africa International University. By then it was called NEGEST, Nairobi Evangelical Graduate School of Theology. And divinely, I kept on, going out for a stroll in the afternoon when I don't have classes. And I kept on meeting a fellow missionary by the name Mbogo. Mbogo became a confidant, and we kept on sharing things. So he's the one who said, Pastor, CITAM is looking for a missionary.
Oh, wonderful.
And I said, interesting. So it didn't cross my mind that it would be time. But and then in one of those days, just a few minutes before, a few weeks before graduation, I had actually proposed that I'll be visiting with the bishop and also to visit with the missions director, by then Reverend Modhengi. And very interestingly, I didn't make time, to get Reverend Mike Modhengi, because he was busy. He was in Sudan. He was all over. So I visited with the bishop.
He was a missioner?
Yeah, he was a serious missioner. And met with the bishop, by then Bishop Emeritus, Boniface Adoyo, who said, we are looking for a missionary to Samburu People Group. What they didn't know, I had served as a lay missionary out there,
in Baringo.
Baringo, and crossing over to Samburu. And all said and done, they made that advert. And one of our registrar, Esther Nyaga, sent it to the students' portal, and especially they forwarded to the mission kind of connected, emails. And I believe normally when some things like that happen, you are like the last one to read. We were just a few of us in the Master of Divinity missions. And when I am coming back in the evening, I discovered that people are looking for, I said, there is a post. You have been the one who has been dying to go out there to People Group, the Pokots. Now there is one for Samburu. This is for you. And sure enough, I applied. And I went through the interview and I was taken. And my first posting was to Samburu People Group, basically in Mararal, so that I can oversee CITAM's work in Samburu North. When you hear Samburu North, that's Baragoi, Samburu Central, Samburu East, and those are the regions that I served for 2.5 years.
Oh, wonderful,
And it was such a great joy for CITAM Karen, where I did my induction for almost 8 months. And then they finally commissioned me under Reverend Isaac Kibudhu and Judy Mbogwa. They prayed, they laid hands on me with the elders, and I was commissioned into the mission field.
You remind me of the way we usually talk, and we say that make sure you get to know 1 or 2 other people whom you did not know.
Yes.
Because somehow, somewhere, your destiny lies. You could be lying on that person. Yes. And see how your destiny lied on Mr. Mbogo.
Yes.
That is wonderful.
Yeah, and I'm so forever grateful for such destinies. And they were able easily, pinpointing out that this man is a missionary. And I was sent to Mararal, and I served there for 2.5 years under Pastor Lucas Lepario, Mararal Pentecostal Church. And I was overseeing some work in Baragoi under Reverend Christopher Equinyuk, and also in Samburu East in Wamba under Pastor Jonah London. And then from there, we did a visibility study, and we discovered that in the north, there's a big issue. Islam is really growing on a fast rate. So
that is very true.
I was now transferred from Mararal, the central part of Samburu, now to Samburu East.
So you're from Samburu North to Samburu East?
Yes, now from the central part. But now, even after training the pastors in that region, I was sent to Samburu East to do a demo, a church, just like how we do church plant in CITAM. Valley Road was planted first, and then we went over to Woodley. So I was sent out there now from Marala, where we had planted a church, now to go to Samburu East at a place called Archer's Post.
Wonderful.
To plant a church, to be a banner, signpost, that definitely even in the north is not only Islam, we also have brothers and sisters who love the Lord.
Indeed.
So in the year 2012, around July, August, we arrived in Archer's Post. And the community really received us well. But the work did not pick up. We took a long time even to get a place to put the tent of the Lord. But thereafter, we moved on, and the church was planted.
Just in a nutshell, it's that now you have come to Archer's Post. By the Archer's Post is where I met you.
Yes.
At first sight.
Definitely.
Yes. Yeah. Now you have come to Archer's Post. And of course, let me say that from what I know is that the communities back in the north, they are quite hostile, not accommodative that much. How was it? How did you manage to settle there? It's that you are looking for a new place to settle in Samburu East.
Amazingly, we never thought of anything as a risk, hostility. Of course, by the time we were arriving there, issues of cattle rustling were on another level.
Oh, okay.
I remember one evening I was just strolling around, and that time the late Saitoti, the internal security minister, had arrived there with a chopper. And all the military men in uniform, they were there, and they actually got all animals and bundled them and took them from the families, because that was like a hot spot whereby all cultures met, the Samburus, the Turkanas. At some point, we have the Merus. And it was not easy to bring it to a stalemate. But I want to thank God we joined now from the spiritual angle, and the community was really down, frustrated, in pain, and we provided hope. And God prepared the ground pretty well, and we were well received because we are offering hope to people who are hopeless.
That is
and
true.
I remember pretty well the Wazes received me. They didn't come to church specifically, especially from Lorubai. Lorubai is known to be a big village, and its basic economic activity is tourism. So the old men there, they just gave me their children, the women. Such a great honor, and they're the ones who are coming to church.
People giving out their families to church.
But we created a great rapport with them. But we did not find a space to start the church, so we went to the shopping center.
All right.
And one of the streets on the Samburu Lodge road, we got a mzee by the name Lekuriani. Yes, who actually rented us his plot. And we started there as an office, a Bible study club for children. And then we outgrew that shop. And he gave us the back room. We still outgrew.
You're saying a mission station in Archersport started from a shop?
Yes, a simple shop.
Now I can imagine.
Yes.
I can only imagine that
and
shop.
On Samburu Game Reserve Road. And then when we outgrew the two shops, graciously, the Lord gave us favor with my landlord, Brother John Kalen Lengolate. I will never forget that gentleman. He was a Roman Catholic,
Brother
a
John.
believer, John Kalen Lengolate. And he rented us the opposite of that place. We had a pub that was not working. So we moved the church into this pub and gave us actually other two Dukas shops that we had 3 Sunday schools that my wife was running with teachers. One of them came from underwent tutorial, and I'm just so happy. And the very first boys and girls, some of them are teachers as we speak now, some are nurses.
That is wonderful mentorship.
Some are in the forces. It's such a great joy, those boys that the Lord gave us. And bit by bit, we planted the church grew. My wife, my late wife, Mabo, began a women's economic empowerment arm.
That was wonderful.
By the name Entau Oi Silingai.
That's quite a name.
And these, the faithful women, it was that you get beads, you work on them.
Yes.
So she gave a little bit a token, like a seed. And then these beads, you produce very good amulets and some things. We didn't call them by the name in English, Ngiripa, and good necklace, traditional necklace.
I think I also
earrings,
encountered some of them.
Yes, and it could be sold, and then you keep the profit you share by giving a offering and a tithe, and you don't eat the seed. And that's how this Ontao or Selingai progressed to a higher level.
That was nice.
And it attracted a grant of close to 3 million from the ADO, from the Pentecostal Assemblies of Canada, pumping in a seed of 3 million. And it was such a great joy to see the economic empowerment of that community. And it was coming in so timely, how God works. That's the time issues to do with the tourism had dived. There was a time because of insecurity, post-election violence, and things like that, our tourism industry was not doing well.
Went down, yeah.
So it has gone down, but my wife bringing hope, and when tourism was picking up, the ladies were already equipped. They knew how to do good bits
Yeah, they are
that
very
can
creative.
fetch good money, and that's how they got the market. Yeah.
That was wonderful. That was wonderful. And I know the ladies there are very creative. I was privileged when I got out of that place. I was privileged to get a few ornaments to take them to my mother.
Yeah.
And she was very happy. They are very unique things.
Exactly.
Yeah. So here you are at a shopping center, but at a land, kuna landlord mahali.
Yes.
How did you manage to move now from a shopping center gradually and slowly looking for a nice place. I know you are looking for a nice place to stay. How was it? How was the transitioning?
And actually, I want to thank God for Christ the Answer Ministries Missions Department. They are quite focused. And then when we were in that state, they actually gave us money and we bought a plot where we put there a church hall and an office and Sunday school block. Basically, that's economic empowerment.
Yeah.
And I thank God for the Samburu County government who also gave us 1 hectare of land, just reaching up to the game reserves, where we had envisioned to do a ministry enhancement center, whereby we can train men and women on matters evangelism, on matters theology, so that they can be equipped and move further north. So we got that piece of land, 1 acre, and we put on that that multipurpose hall, like a church, and that's where we began.
Oh,
That's where we began. Yeah.
so you began from a 1 acre place.
Yes.
All growing slowly and slowly, and your wife is there by your side.
Yes. Actually, moving from the shop now to our own land. So we put there a tent, and we didn't last long in that tent. Finally, we built permanent structures.
Okay.
So they're there, and we want to thank God. Yeah.
So how were you encouraged to move on with this Samburu community? But it's a mixture, all the same. It's a mixture of the Samburu people, the Turkana people, the Rendile people.
Yeah.
How was it bring them back from the cultural setup to now the new Christian living setup? How was
I
it?
just want to assure you, when Christ's purpose to touch lives, it touches and changes and transforms them.
That is true.
And sure enough, there is no culture that is supra that can deny the love of Christ.
That is true.
So, of course, in their setting, they live like enemies, but by the love of Christ, who died for us on the cross, they live brother and sister. They share things in commonality. There is joy. We could do sports with the boys and girls. They could play together. Men and women could meet. When we do conferences, we could crisscross through all the borders and just share the love of Christ. Yeah.
That was nice.
Yeah. And by the time we are leaving, heading north, it was a whole piece that the Lord has really put together.
So you left again Samburu?
Yes.
Samburu East?
Yes.
Now going back to Samburu to the north.
Yeah, went further north to Marsabit County, among the Rendile people group.
Marsabit is close to the border?
Very close to the border, 250 or so kilometers from Marsabit to Moyale. But we were going in another 80 kilometers from Marsabit town to Kargi. And in Kargi, we spent 2 years in this mission center among the Rendile people.
Among the Rendile people in Kargi.
In Kargi.
Oh, close to the border now.
Close to the border. And graciously, we enjoyed our life there, sharing the love of Christ, in the sense that we had major missionaries who had served in that mission station. They are like of John Degwa, they are like of Wandi and Cecilia or Rokorio, and I remember pretty well Alice Ndegwa, who are very instrumental, the founders of Kargi. And of course, others, they had actually brought up men and women in the Lord. So we are just going to harvest what they had planted. So our key role was, how do we now, and in between, graciously, the Lord brought a new missions director in CITAM Missions, Reverend Elias Kiduka, who came in with a vision. It is time. We have been too long in these mission stations. It is time now to pass it on, now to the people, to themselves. And I sincerely want to thank God.
When was this?
Just this is 2022. Thereabout is when we passed on the mantle to our Rendile pastor.
Okay.
So in our 2 years there, when Reverend Kochio actually commissioned us to go in there, he prayed over us and we agreed to go. And one of his words that he mentioned as a missions director, he said, Pastor Saliku and Mabo, at your sunset years, it is time just to prepare people for the kingdom. And it's at that time we realized, wow, it's time. So It didn't take long. Reverend Elias took over and he continued the same message that we need to see. It is many years now, 10 years plus. We need to see a brother from the Rendile community or a sister from the Rendile community picking up from the other national missionaries.
That was one.
And graciously, Pastor Bio Ambrose had already gone through Bible school. He was at East. He had graduated with a degree in theology. So it was just a matter of preparing, giving him orientation. So we took him through the process. He of course, he was studying in Nairobi and he was attending CITAM Buruburu. But again, now we took time and we brought him to CITAM Woodley, whereby he was a pastoral staff for close to almost 3 months.
Okay.
Then by the time he was coming to take over from us, then we moved. We were requested by the Elders Council now to stop planting the mission churches and to come and plant the urban church.
The urban church.
Yes, and that's how we landed here at CITAM Kakamega.
Here at CITAM Kakamega.
Yes.
And just, if I may ask you, as you are, let's say you are leaving the mission station back in the north, and you have this vast experience in missionary work. How are you living? Were you living a satisfied man, or like you are going and you are turning back and saying, but there is that young man, but there is that daughter of mine. What can we do about you? Can we go back?
Definitely, it was not easy. A place where we had lived for almost 12 years, it was not easy to part. And of course, out there, life is simple, not complicated. You only have a set of dress, cloth, a nice shirt, a t-shirt. Life there is easy.
Yeah, life there is very easy.
It's not complicated. You can have one cup, you can have one spoon. But now we had to leave brothers and sisters whom we had lived. Some of them, we saw them as young girls. Now they were women, married, and of course with children. So as a matter of fact, we could call ourselves grandparents. There is something like that, because we had married off some ladies and some young men had already gotten married. And just to leave such a family is not easy. But of course, communities are different. We were just living among them. Some were living with us in their house. So it was not easy just to move. So we moved, but we moved with quite a number of them to stay with us.
Oh, wonderful.
Some in search of education, some that
so it's family. They were not even ready to let go.
Yeah, it's family. So it took a while. It took a while. We struggled with my wife, but now the warmness and of course the witness in our spirit, it's time to move, was the consoling factor. And it gave us solace that the Lord will also help us on this new journey that is also very exciting.
Very exciting.
Very exciting.
What were your expectations of this new journey?
My expectation was, big things and Christ coming down, doing what no man can do through us, of course.
Yes.
Testimony, signs and wonders. And sure, this is what we have experienced in the church plant, of course. A little bit of the spiritual warfare.
Yeah.
Spiritual warfare is very real. It's very real. Yeah.
And so, welcome to CITAM Kakamega.
Thank you.
And now you are here.
Yes.
Yeah. We have been glad to have you. But again, when you came in, I know you came in and sat down and saw, wow, this is CITAM Kakamega. From a missionary back in the north, a place where let me use the simple thing like technology. Technology, they have not been endowed with too much technology. Even probably it could be the highest form of technology could be a phone. And yet you are here in CITAM Kakamega coming to plant a new church.
Yes.
What were your strategies? Just how are you planning to go about it? You are a missioner. You're coming now to an urban center to form a church plant where you're not coming to do mission work, but you're coming to do church planting. How was the transitioning?
They are almost correlated, just to change a little bit of tact here and there. But it is very exciting. And in fact, when we were landing the first time, it was just like any other mission field. Because we had a word from the Elders Council, we need to move. And when Bishop gave us an orientation, it was very clear that you are going out there, not to buy land, but you look for a place, a hall, that you can just plug and play. And it was like, now where are we going? We found a small congregation here, Safari Group, and of course they were meeting at the social hall.
Yeah.
That's where we were received. At that time, the social hall was also packed with the ECD material of the entire county. So we didn't have space, so we had to hire tents and just do our meeting at the grounds of Kakamega Social Hall. So that gave us an impetus to see where can we look for the hall to do church planting. And we crisscrossed through. We could not find any. But as we trust in the Lord, God opened us a good space on Kefingo Road. And we didn't even get the, every place we have the brokers. The Lord just guided us by His divine appointment. We met the owner.
That is true.
And from that day, the owner said, if you love the place, have it. And that's how we got that place at Kefingo.
God's favor.
Where we are fellowshipping. It's God's favor. Yes.
So God's favor was just following you everywhere you go, everywhere you go.
When He calls and He sends, He also empowers.
Yes.
And He also provides.
So when He calls, He sends, and He also empowers. Yeah.
And then He also makes sure that He creates a way.
That is my take home for today, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. When He calls, He sends, and He empowers.
Yes.
So now you are here at CITAM Kakamega. CITAM Kakamega has found a place, but CITAM Kakamega has nothing.
Yes.
I remember there was one elder who stood and said that it is borrowed.
Yes.
It is all borrowed.
Yes.
How are you able to navigate through, and now you are here where you are seated right next to me?
Yes.
How are you able to navigate through?
We were two of us, Reverend Gerard Ounga.
Yeah.
And we landed in this town. We were walking east, west, south. Then when we got this place, there was a deep witness in our spirit. This is the place. And that's how we began. And that saying, it is all borrowed, we are sharing with the leadership who had actually visited to check on us, especially on our first Sunday. We had hired everything, outsourced everything. We didn't own anything. But I want to thank God for our procurement department. They had sent in the seats. The projects department had done their part, and the place was looking magnificent.
Much thanks.
I want to tell you, the carpet, the seats were imported. And we didn't have the PA. We didn't have the mics. We didn't have the media room. For sure. Like that. Of course, we had the media person, Brother Jackson, coming in. And we had admin also. So the reason why the elder said, hey, our leaders, look here, what you see here is all borrowed, was that fact that we did not begin by owning anything.
That is true.
We outsourced most of the services, most of the instruments we outsourced. So bit by bit through the procurement, we kept on buying one item after the other, and we are still on the process of equipping even our media and our sound equipments. So church plant is not just a one-day event.
True. It's
a continuous event. Even as we continue heading to our third year, there are quite a number of things that we need to do, and we are not yet there. We are not yet there yet.
That is true.
Yes.
That is true.
Yes.
Yeah. And it that you are not yet there.
Yeah.
What are maybe the challenges that are pushing us backward?
Yeah, the challenges,
or maybe are stagnating us from
the challenges is to get many hands to serve. Because when you are in a big family, you need hands.
Yeah, that is true.
Hands to move this thing to that corner, hands to clear on the other side. So workers has been quite a challenge. We have very good members who are very good workers, but we need more. Just like Christ, who put it very squarely, that the fields are ripe to be harvested. But the workers, the laborers are few. And that's what we experience. That's the major challenge. But I want to thank God, the few workers we have, they are equal to the task. They are equal to the task. They have been empowered. In fact, you find a brother, you find a sister who is running 2 or 3 ministries.
I tell you.
It's not easy to be productive because even us as pastors, we are running up and down. But sincerely, I want to thank God that we are on the process of growing and developing more workers for His glory.
What is the beauty about it?
the beauty about it is that we are seeing people how God is calling them, and He empowers them. I've seen brothers and sisters coming further saying, I'm available for Christ. And being empowered, and by God's grace and His mercy upon them, they are serving, even to the leadership capacity. Some are still on the pews. We are yet to locate them and also give them an opportunity to serve their Creator. Yes.
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
And as you have been in CITAM Kakamega, you have been exposed to, say, different pastoral leadership. We had Reverend Gerard Ounga, who came and also went to another church.
Yes.
We had also Pastor Shadrach Wasonga, who came.
Yes.
And also now we have other new pastors who came in.
Yes.
How has it been transitioning? You see, you have been exposed to
it's
too much transition.
Such a great joy that the Lord has graciously loved us as a congregation.
Indeed.
Coming from North, being promoted to come and be the lead pastor was not a walk in the park. I believe the Elders Council heard from the Spirit, and they were really, really, really encouraged. And they didn't send me alone. They sent me with Reverend Gerard Ounga. So we came here, and he served his time. And graciously, the Lord promoted him.
Wonderful.
To go and be another lead pastor somewhere. That's how he moved back to Nairobi. When he was exiting, we got a young man, super intellect, sharp, loving the Lord, Pastor Shadrach Wasonga Otieno, and he also served, but from other information that he also needed also to build himself up, even with his family. So he was again transferred. That's the information. So it has. You are right. It has come almost like every year.
Yeah.
But we thank God because it's with a positive reason, not only for the congregation. You might be feeling why all this rate of turnover, because we are getting used to, but it's the Lord's leading.
It's the Lord's
And I want to tell you the pastors that we have gotten, that why it's super. Reverend Pt.2, who has been in this field for a number of years.
Yes.
And of course, Pastor Shadrach, Pastor Clement, Kaelo, who has been actually again serving for quite a number of years with his dear wife Charity. So we are blessed now with workers. You see what God does.
Indeed.
So now they will come in, they will serve, and I see ourselves expanding and doing the harvest that the Lord has sent us to do here. Yes.
What is really your great push towards doing God's work? What really motivates you to do God's work?
What motivates me to do God's work is the love of the Lord that He has bestowed unto me. He has, loved me so much. In my own frailty, in my own weakness, He has loved me. And that is what pushes me. What is this excuse that I do have with such much love?
Of course.
That I cannot serve Him.
Of course.
I have no excuse. So that is my force, that I need to serve Him. Loving me.
Wonderful.
The way I am.
Wonderful. And indeed, your life is full of testimonies and all that. And finally, Rev, this one just came to me as an intuition that I would really want to know. What really pushes you towards your love for children?
Wow. Yes. This is now personal and very vulnerable question to me. When I got married, you get married and you have this joy of getting babies. And we had promised each other that we will get babies. Children, of course. They come from a big family. 10 of us. The Lord took one. So we are 3 brothers and 6 sisters. And from my wife, late wife, there were just a few of them. Actually, 3. And the Lord took one, so they were only 2. So my wife wanted to get many children as she could. But somehow things happened and we only were blessed with one child. So when we were in that hospital and realizing, especially from the specialist, looking at every scenario and promising us this is possible, finally we made a vow. By then the street menace was on the high rise. And we said, God, if this is what you have chosen for us, that we'll have as one child, this is okay. But we will open the doors of our home for many more children who do not have a home. And it's out of that confession that our family is a blended family.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so this is how the Lord opened that door for us.
Wonderful.
To love children. Yeah.
That one came across me when I have been reviewing your profile photo in Facebook.
Yes.
And it has been that one.
Yes.
That one when you are surrounded
with my boys and girls.
With your boys and girls there.
Yes.
And it is just a wonderful sight to see year and year and year coming and coming and coming. And so, Rev, at this time, probably I want to give you a few seconds to talk to your congregation and also to the brethren out there.
Yes.
Just talk to them.
Yes. Awesome. Brother Emmanuel Budeo, actually it has been a great moment for us to have the Kingdom Pulse beyond Sunday. And I really want to address you, brother and sister, who is watching this day. In your own situation and circumstance, I want to assure you, the Lord loves you. And if you love him, he will use you to the maximum and you will be surprised. In fact, what the Lord does always in our lives is beyond comparison. In that case, he takes what seems to be a thorn in the flesh and builds up a testimony for his glory. What you only need to do is for you to let it go and love him with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul. And when you love him and serve him, he will surprise you on how he will use you in his kingdom. So you might be there worried, you might be there crying. It's just for you to let it go to him and he will use you. As a matter of fact, he's the one who qualifies us, the people that he has chosen, not this generation. He's the one who qualifies us. So if he chooses you in your own weaknesses, in your own shortcomings, he knows how to empower you. He knows how to make you gold out of the ashes so that you can bring glory to him. Punchline for you, just love him the way you are and leave everything to him and it shall be okay. God bless you.
Thank you. And indeed, our dear listener, our dear viewer, we thank you for tuning in to today's episode. That was our lead pastor here at CITAM Kakamega, Reverend Peter Saliku, who was sharing his life story here with us so that we can be able to know him better and also learn from his past experiences. Take home for today, the Lord calls, sends, and also empowers. All that by the grace of God. I have been your host, Emmanuel Muliro, and be sure to give us your reviews on our comment section and also at our social media pages. Thank you and have a blessed time.